Well, welcome. The collective is here for your information, and knowledge, and love. What we ask of you is to sit and listen. Listen to the vibration. Listen to the frequency. For it is this frequency that you seek. It is this vibration to be immersed in. Allow yourself now to be immersed in all of this frequency. For many of you have found yourself in a bit of a question. A bit of a question of what is there to do? What is next? What is it that I am to believe? What has just taken place? See, yes, it is referencing this time period that you have just experienced. For many have been contemplating this election period and the decisions within. But if you remember this moment of the request to unify, that is where you shall find yourself. That is the answer you're seeking. But it isn't to cover unification once again, because this is where you should be, no matter the outcomes. For the outcomes are for your humanity, for the approach of your humanity and where you exist within your humanity. But you're divine. That is where you are connected. That is where your unification exists. So the request was placed before you to find those moments to unify with all the rest of humanity. Now, where you exist at the moment, questions, some even in disbelief, some exuberant. But see, this is where now it is to look inward. Is that your humanness? Or is that your divine? For it is your humanness. See, this is the challenge. This is the challenge that lies before you. For your divine does not have a piece in the game. Because your divine is connected to all consciousness. There isn't a left or a right, an up and down, even a right or wrong. So what you are experiencing is your humanness. And yes, even in that vibration, you'll find that vibration to be a bit tumultuous, a bit exciting. See, it depends on which side you stand in your humanness. For the time that lies before you, the time that is set before you isn't to be in your humanness. It is now the time to bring all divine aspects to the center. This may seem as if it is a lofty request. It may seem as if it is an impossibility for some. But there again, that's the humanness that is complicating it. It isn't to be challenged in any of it. Your divine is calling out, your essence, that divine essence that is you. is calling out to be connected. And this is for all humans. Setting aside the humanness, the physicality, the struggles there within, the divine is calling out to connect, to align, to all other souls across this planet. For what you are going to witness moving forward is still going to be the same humanness that was before this election point in time. For as the messages have come through over and over again, there still is going to be chaos. There still is going to be unsettledness. For what has been brought through numerous times, chaos and unsettledness is not something new. This is a part of your physical reality. It is a cycle. It continues. From the very first humans, all the way to the point at which there may be an end. This is the cycle. This is the density. This is how it is scripted. As you move into that next dimensional plane, you begin to lose that aspect of unsettledness. You begin to lose that aspect of chaos. It will still be present, but not in the ways that it is now. And this is why many perceive it as they enter into hypnosis, as they enter into the quantum field, as a new earth, because it looks completely different. Because it is a new earth. It is a new earth that exists within your dimension here upon this planet. There are multiple dimensions taking place all at once right now in front of you. But you do not see them, you do not perceive them. They are not existent because you have not crossed that threshold. But you can begin the process by allowing your divine essence to be enveloped in all of humanity. It isn't for a cause, it isn't for an outcome, but it is to amplify that divine consciousness, that unified field that exists all around this planet. And as you see your neighbor, your friend, your family member struggle, this is where you begin to overlay your divine essence upon them, comforting them, not through your words, not through your actions. Your presence, yes, but your essence, your vibration, that you exude from you, this divine essence that you have within you, that's what you allow them to experience. That's how you comfort them. It isn't to change their mind, it isn't to change who they are. It isn't even to awaken them. But it is for them to sense this divine essence in their presence. This is the mission that you've had for all the lifetimes that you've existed. To be human and to be in presence with your divine essence. That is the mission. Everything else is just a contract. Everything else that you do as a human is just part of your contract. Many believe their mission is much greater than that. And it is. But at its core, the primary mission for all of humanity is to come into this lifetime to be a human, and to be in your essence of a divine being. Not speaking it, not doing anything, but being present with it. And now, here, in this time period, it is needed. Again, it isn't about left or right, up or down, who won, who didn't. That's the human construct. That's the human struggle. And in time, that will all begin to settle. And the real work begins. The real work of being a divine being upon this planet, because much is going to be revealed to you. Much is going to be brought into your awareness. So many are asking about disclosure and when is that going to happen? As it has been mentioned over and over again, disclosure begins here within oneself. Trusting one's self. And when you truly begin to trust oneself, that you are a divine being here in a human form upon this planet during this time, then all begins to reveal itself. If you wish to make contact with any galactic being or any other energetic being, it must start here by trusting yourself. That's the signal to the universe that you are ready. Don't allow the human thought process to complicate how you're going to see it or what you're going to see. What form is it going to take? Am I going to see it on this night? Allow it to naturally unfold for you. For it's in universal timing for you to experience it. But all humanity on this planet has stepped one step closer to that ascension point. See, if you look around throughout your planet, from just a week ago to now, you'll sense just a bit of calm. It feels just a bit different. Not completely, just a bit. This is the settledness that's taking place of consciousness beginning to rise up in humans. In those humans that are not awakened, they're beginning to question. For those that are already awakened, those that have already been on their mission, those that have already been on their path, those that already provide services, prepare yourselves. This too has been brought to you many times. When it begins, be ready. For those that are questioning are going to be seeking. They're going to begin to find you more and more. So much has changed in just a short amount of time across your planet. It isn't just here in your United States. It is across the planet. So take some time to reflect. Take some time to understand this divine essence and how it is emanating. And understand how powerful it is. It is your signature. It is your business card if you wish to look upon it that way. It is what you put in front of people every moment of every day. And where is that energy? How does it settle with you? How does it be placed in front of others? How is it received? So allow yourself this time, as you move forward, step back and have a bit of a bigger picture of this unified field and your consciousness and your part within it. Before, if you have questions, please begin.
Thank you very much for that beautiful opener. Patty's friend Michelle wonders if the 12 disciples from the Bible are connected in some way to the 12 source clusters mentioned in the origin story.
For there is if you wish to look upon it this way, a very loose connection. And why is it loose? Well, it would be the same as you and your 11 friends get together. Each of you have a direct connection to the 12 source clusters. So in this, yes, the apostles, the 12, they have a direct connection to the 12 source clusters. With the difference. And see, this has to be understood in a manner of lineage and time. For their lineage, their bloodlines, they were all purposefully synchronized to have an open divine connection to Source, God, the Creator. And so, yes, they had an awareness greater than themselves, but they also had an awareness of, shall it be understood, their galactic alignment, so that they could have an abundance of knowledge placed before their feet, so that they were well informed, if it were. Now, the importance of all this is, yes, you can take your biblical teachings throughout time and begin to understand the galactic alignments that were already woven into many of the messages, many of those that partook in those scriptures and writings, and understand their lineage and their connectedness. Now, this isn't to say that humanity itself is not connected directly to Source or God or the Creator. It is. But through time, think of it as a window that is slowly closing. It will never fully close, but closer to the source that you begin, the window is wide open and it begins to slowly close over time. You and your humanity period now, you can look at that window as being about 75% closed. This is why it feels a bit disconnected from many of the biblical teachings. This is why it feels as if some of those teachings are difficult to comprehend, but yet you have a deep connectedness to a creator, a source being. You see, the separation begins as the window begins to close, to have a greater awareness of the totality of what your existence is. When the window is wide open, it is a direct source connection. So there is no other informational understanding. As the window closes, you explore more. You find yourself in the midst of many different discussions, many different beings, many different creator beings. So do not be overly confused, but yes, the 12, yes, they have direct alignment, just as you do, but their connection to Source was much greater. So they had an ample amount of information that was laid before their feet.
You did say at one point, I think, that back then more people had a direct line of communication because it was needed to evolve humanity?
This is precisely correct. You have to understand, from the earliest of humans, this is well before your biblical times, there was a need in their humanity, in their physicality, to have, say, the programming, if you wish to look upon it that way, pre-installed within the consciousness, to know that there is some greater essence than theirs, that they can begin to call out to. This was a needed portion within the physicality to allow them to grow energetically, allow them to grow spiritually, allow them to grow as a being upon this planet. Now, as humanity progresses, then humanity itself begins to evolve into many different belief systems, many different teachings, and it begins to, in essence, water itself down, but yet those connections are still available. The window is closing, and more information is sought outside of specific teachings.
I see, thank you for that. Monica wonders what she needs to know about her relationship with her horse Belle and her new horse Jazzy, please.
If you were to observe their energetic sphere in which they exist, their Jazzy's sphere is much more dominant in the teaching aspect. Belle's energy sphere is dominant in the healing aspect. The energy that is emitted from Belle is one that is purely healing. And it is to understand Jazzy is going to begin to teach many that enter within her energy how to realign their own physical energy so that Belle then can take over and provide the healing that is necessary. Think of it as one is going to align the energy appropriately so then it can begin to receive, and then the other is going to provide the healing that is necessary. But you're also going to find there's going to be a bit of tension between the two before they begin to interlock their energies for the healing process. This is going to be a normal state of adjustment because they are quite different in their own energy cycles, and it will take a bit of time for them to synchronize. Once they realize each other's role, this is where the synchronization will take place, and this is where the true healing is going to take place.
Can this take place if they're not physically in proximity to one another?
It will. You have to understand this is not a physical to physical aspect. This is purely energetic. They have already sensed each other, they know of each other, they understand their energies, but they have to synchronize each other. This now, with this knowledge, this will begin your process of being able to facilitate this in the energy cycles.
Beautiful, thank you. Kathleen wonders about the significance of having lived through 4 Florida hurricanes and why she happened to be traveling when Hurricane Milton came through recently. Was her absence purposeful?
One is to look at your placement, your energy, your alignment to that particular location. For you've been called to that location for a purpose. You've been called to that location to anchor energy in that location. Now, the aspects of storms and hurricanes in that particular area, those are aside from you anchoring your energy. Now, you also have to understand, just as the ship seeks refuge from a storm by time going out in the storm, you too, here, you've anchored yourself in a secure location, securing yourself in safety. No matter the storm, you've weathered it. This is strength in your own resilience. This is strength in your own energy placement. Now, this last aspect of why you were not there, for the container that you have built and anchored in that location provided shelter and safety for others. So, you understood this, not in your physicality, but you understood this in your consciousness. You understood this in your higher self perspective, and you understood that it was okay, that you could physically leave the location, but yet the container and the anchor of energy that you've placed there provided security for so many. So, you have to understand this is a greater picture of your own energy. This is a greater picture of how you have centered yourself and created this safety and this safe harbor, if it were, of energy for others in that location. And it isn't just in one specific location of where your house is. This is now expanded much further. This is your role. And this hasn't been just in this location. No matter where you have set up your own residence, you've always anchored that energy there. That energy that you anchor has still remained in place. This is your role. You center energy, you anchor it, and then you leave it for others to enjoy.
Beautiful, thank you. Lauren G. wonders, what message does she need to hear at this time?
For it is this moment in time that you find yourself with options, if it were. For there are questions that lay before you that are unsettled, but you've already answered the appropriate one to yourself. But here's the quandary in that answer. For you've answered it from your humanness. And there's a bit of trust within the answer that you do not fully take hold of. Now, it isn't about the answer. It isn't even about the question. It's about self. It's about reflection of self and trusting that reflection that you see before you. How much of it do you trust? How much of that did you turn over to your divine self and trust? It is when you see that reflection, do you open yourself to it? When you see that reflection, do you see through it, or do you see what's in front of it? It's trusting what you see in front of you. And the reason this is important, of trusting what you see in front of you, what is reflecting back at you, is then how the answers are then addressed. Because the answers are already provided to you. No matter how many options lay before you, the answers are already provided to you. But it's what the human does with the answer. So, yes, you have answered the question appropriately. Now, trust that answer. Trust that reflection. Because the answer is a reflection of yourself and how you trust yourself. And yes, there's a bit of movement within that answer. A bit of picking up, shifting, and then settling back. So, it's how you trust that reflection. And it is the reflection that is your answer. It's trusting yourself. Because you have the strength to take on all of what lies before you with trust.
Thank you for that. What energy was providing that message, please?
A collective of the higher self and Archangel Michael.
Beautiful, thank you. Judy B. feels called to the Navajo Nation. What does she need to know about this, please?
For the many tribal elders that have been centered around you for some time, have now made their way into your presence, just as they have already mentioned. In particular, the medicine women, the elders, for they have greeted you. They have encircled you. They have prepared you. Just as they have instructed, they will do so, and they have done so. But now is time to reflect inward, to understand the role that you'll begin to find yourself in. This will be a role much different than any other role that you have taken on thus far. This is going to be a role that you are going to be catapulted into another direction. The question is, are you ready? For they are preparing you, but you must be ready. Just with any deep ceremonial practice, one does not immerse themselves into the ceremony until the ceremony calls out to you. So do not lead yourself into something that you are not ready for. Allow the alignments to take place just as appropriately as they have been. For this is just the first step. There's much shamanic work that is going to take place, not only for yourself, but that you will be doing as well. You will be paired with an elder for a period of time that is going to open you to these practices.
An elder in the 3D physicality?
This is correct.
Okay, thank you. Margie has a concern about her cat Jasper, who has a wound on his leg, and she feels that there's a missing piece with regard to the healing of that. What is she missing, or can it be healed, and if so, how? Wondering if they should amputate.
To address the leg and what is required and what you're seeking. What is required is to shift an energy cycle around the leg itself. And this energy cycle is one to, for yourself and all that are providing any healing, is for your humanness to step aside at that moment. Do not allow your humanness to engage in the healing process, meaning your human emotions, your human intellect, your physicality. For you have to understand, just as Jasper provides healing to you, that healing does not come in the form of Jasper's emotions, Jasper's physicality. It's Jasper's essence, energy. Now, what is required? You have been doing much in your physicality to aid and assist. But what Jasper is trying to assist you with is understanding how powerful just the placement of your energy outside of your physicality is. It is a reflection of how Jasper heals, and now Jasper is teaching you how to do the same. Now, is this going to fully alleviate? No, but this is the process that must take place first to fully address any forward steps. What is taking place is an energy blockage that is to be reflected in this injury with the leg, the ailment with the leg, so that you can begin to focus on how to utilize your external energy without any influence of your physicality for that healing that is necessary. This isn't distant. This isn't a practice of any other modality. This is understanding how to utilize the power of your external energy in an appropriate way for healing. And what you'll begin to see with Jasper is a change. Not necessarily full healing, but change. Now, once that change begins, then you can address the physicality. Now, yes, there are multiple options that you have at hand. You can continue to use conventional healing process, but you can also begin to understand your energy cycles with it, and that is how it should be understood. It isn't a permanent placement of your energy within it, it is an energy cycle. But yes, you question, shall it be amputated? You will understand this, and this will be given to you through Jasper as you begin to understand this process that Jasper is trying to express to you. Eliminating the limb will also alleviate that energy blockage, but also move that energy blockage then and disperse it throughout the body. So it must be cleared from the joint area before it can be then removed. See, there's a process here. Now, that is one possibility. The other is, yes, to continue with conventional medicine means, aside from your energy cycles, and it may alleviate itself. Jasper's going to be the one to show you his progress. And then finally, Jasper will also indicate to you if you wish to assist, if it has already taken its toll across the body, there may be need for assistance. But you have to understand this. That assistance, you will understand it quite well, and it won't be as if it has been in the past. There'll be an agreement. But you will also understand that Jasper's energy will remain in place, even though the body will no longer be there. Because Jasper still has much more work to do with you, much more teaching. So whether it is in the physical body or not, that energy is still going to remain in place.
Wow, thank you very much for that. Holly P. wonders why her horse Spirit is limping. Is it serious, or is it perhaps a reflection of something going on with Holly herself?
From a physical standpoint, there still is tenderness there within the physicality. Very, very small amount of tenderness, but this is also then causing reflection of oneself. This is what is amplifying the limp aspect, the personal reflection of self. The spirit is the one that is wishing for you to understand the imbalance within oneself by reflecting to you, yes, this limp, to show you that as you have already found yourself in this deep alignment with Spirit, Spirit shows you many, many things of your own existence. And this is just another aspect. You have incurred a bit of unsettled energy through a decision and an agreement. This unsettled energy is then causing an imbalance within, which then is reflected out, which then is shown back to you in the limb. Now, how to address? Now, here is where Spirit plays the role. The relationship that you have is one, and you understand this quite well. He is your medicine. And you must unfold yourself before Spirit, so that Spirit can begin to do the work. Do clear your mind, clear your thoughts, unfold yourself before Spirit and say, help me balance. Help me to resettle and align and amplify my own centers. My energy centers, all of it, so it is all in alignment. You don't have to address the cause. But it is opening yourself and melding and blending into that energy. And you'll feel it as if it is being pulled from you. All of it, all of your energy is being pulled from you and being realigned, recentered, cleaned up, and then placed right back in. Then you can fold yourself back up into your humanness and say thank you. That is the agreement that you have with Spirit. Spirit is your energy, is your medicine, is your healer.
Wow, lovely, thank you. Linda A. is feeling overwhelmed and wonders where she should place her time, energy, and attention relative to her projects and creations, please.
Where do you focus your energy? For within the question is the answer. Projects, all the places where you have fragmented your energy, leaves the body in question. Where do you focus your energy? Here. Self. And yes, that might mean that you dial back bits and pieces of each one of the projects, each one of the places you've placed energy. See, what you're finding and this is all to understand, is that when great awareness takes place, with great amplification of energy, as the universe begins to align much for you, there is a need within the humanness to place a bit of energy in each one of those places because of excitement, because of what could be. And when you do that, you forget about self. You take a little piece and you put it here, you take a little piece and you put it here, and then you're left with very little bit for yourself. This is where many in the spiritual realm begin to be burnt out. They don't moderate how much they're giving out. Think of this as you've just learned a mighty lesson. It doesn't mean you need to shut everything down, collapse back in, go into a cocoon, stay there for a while, and then reemerge. It means beginning to prioritize your own energy where it belongs, here. And then dedicating an appropriate amount to each one of the projects. Aligning a bit of time here, a little bit of time there, but yet having the majority of the energy for yourself. You have to maintain your own energy, otherwise you have nothing to give anyone else. This is for all to understand. Yes, it's an exciting realm once you begin to understand what is on the other side, and what the possibilities are, and how you can manifest everything before you. But you forget that you only have so much that you can give. So, don't push yourself out in every direction. Allow yourself to be guided on how much you wish to go in those directions while maintaining self.
So once she brings her energy back, she'll be guided as to where to focus.
She can focus on all, but only allow so much in one area at a time, not all areas at once.
Good to know, thank you. Chris T. was just laid off. Do you have any insight about this new situation he finds himself in, please?
If I take a moment for self, for you have been making many changes in your existence, not only physically, but energetically, emotionally. And you can think of this as a way of understanding that there is a greater alignment on your path. And yes, at the moment it is difficult to see that. But you also have to understand, this is a moment, an intersection that you have contracted for yourself to open yourself, to give yourself the freedom to shift in a new direction, to explore even further, to create something for humanity even more exciting than what you have already experienced. For you see, if you were to continue down the path that you are currently on, the allocation of time, the allocation of thought, the allocation of your own energy is taken up. But you have been re-gifted all of it to refocus it in another direction. So, what lies before you is time for self, and then exploring, creating, manifesting a new existence moving forward.
Beautiful, thank you. Wendy B feels like there's a shift in career or purpose coming up. What is she sensing, please?
For there are a number of different intersections of opportunities for career. Do not close any of them off. It is going to be the one that is furthest on your radar that is going to bring you in alignment with your purpose. Now, your purpose, to address your purpose. For just as the question of the individual that has been laid off, here too, many are being called outside of their paradigm to create something new. What is on your horizon, if you wish to call it a center, you may, but an opportunity for many to gather and experience. Experience through animals, experience through modalities, experience through wilderness. And it is understanding that all of the different options, they will all eventually lead to that purpose, but it's the one that's furthest on the radar that's going to get you there quickest. So yes, there is change ahead in employment, but it is understanding, allowing that portion to unfold as it needs. But that purpose is to bring many together into one area to experience. Experience existence, not life, existence much differently.
Good to know, thank you. Many people use the words dimension and density interchangeably, but what's the difference between the two from your perspective, please?
For as it has been expressed, dimensions, there are 12-dimensional energetic layers, if you wish to look upon it that way. You are currently in the third and fourth dimension. Many of the humans are still in the third dimension. Many are in the fourth dimension. You are ascending to the fifth dimension. Now, the further you cascade yourself up the dimensional planes, the less dense your physical body becomes. The physical reality becomes less dense. The aspect of polarity becomes less dense. Density is what binds, think of it as the framework that holds everything together within the dimension. The further you go up, the less dense it becomes, to a point at which there is no density above the 10th dimensional plane. Everything below the 10th dimensional plane, there are factors of density that are involved.
Very helpful, thank you. Before we close, do you have any final remarks for us, please?
Before, as the days unfold in front of you, understand that your paradigm of existence has shifted. And it has gotten closer to that ascension point. And yes, it is still on track. The first wave is still on track for, yes, the close of this calendar year into the beginning of the next calendar year. And what you're going to begin to witness are those individuals that have ascended into that fifth dimensional plane. Their density will feel less. Their dimensionality will be much higher. They may be difficult to talk to. They may present themselves a bit differently. They are still interacting here in this dimensional plane because the majority of humanity still exists in this lower dimensional plane. And it will be difficult for them. But they have much wisdom that they already have at hand because they are in that fifth dimensional plane. So it isn't about who is in charge, what is in charge, where and when, and all of the things that the human wishes to lay upon itself. It's about where humanity is going energetically, their consciousness, their existence. You are in a time of revelation, not the same as you would understand it through your biblical teachings. But much is going to be revealed to humanity in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. Many will say it is a new reality, and for some it will be. This should be a point of excitement. This should be a point of comfort for many. For you have been wishing this upon yourselves for months and years. And yet here it is. And yet so many questions. Allow yourself to set aside your humanness just for a moment. Be in your divine consciousness and look around. There is a calm across humanity. There is a peace across humanity. There still is going to be challenges that lie ahead. But you have stepped through a significant change, a paradigm for all of humanity across the planet itself. Embrace one another in your consciousness, in your awareness, and understand this is what you have created for yourselves, this existence. And there is much more to enjoy ahead. Understand that there is going to be much that is going to be revealed, and embrace it with a new understanding of joy and excitement, because it's for your consciousness, not for your humanity.
Outstanding. Thank you so very much for your presence today.
And thank you. And as always, the collective is here for your information, knowledge, and love.